You picked the wrong person. Again. You knew it the night you met them. Your heart was already pounding before they had said a single interesting thing. The conversation was awkward and the red flags were visible from across the bar. And yet, something inside you wanted them more, not less. You told yourself it was chemistry. You told yourself it was fate. But the real answer is far stranger than either of those words. The real answer is that your ancestors already made this decision for you 200,000 years ago. Think about what attraction actually feels like. Not the story you tell your friends the next morning. The real feeling. The one that hijacks your sleep and ruins your appetite and makes you check your phone 17 times in an hour. That feeling does not come from your conscious mind. It comes from parts of your brain that predate language, predate thought, predate you. And those parts of your brain are not trying to make you happy. They are trying to make you reproduce. The difference between those two goals is the entire explanation for why you fell in love with the wrong person. The anthropologist Helen Fisher spent 30 years studying what happens inside a brain that is falling in love. She put people into fMRI machines and showed them a photograph of someone they had recently fallen for. What she saw was not subtle. The brain did not light up like it was enjoying a nice sunset. It lit up like it was on cocaine. Specifically, the ventral tegmental area flooded with dopamine. That is the same region that activates during drug addiction. The same region that lights up when a gambler is about to pull a lever. Love is not a soft emotion. It is a drive state. It is older than emotion itself. And its goal is singular. This is where your ancestors enter the story. For the vast majority of human history, life was nothing like yours. There were no dating apps, no first dates at coffee shops, no slow getting-to-know-you phase spread across 6 weeks of texts. There was a small band of maybe 30 people. Half of them were related to you. Of the ones who were not, most were children or elders. Your options were staggeringly narrow, and the consequences of choosing wrong were not awkwardness or heartbreak. They were death. If your ancestors picked a partner who could not cooperate, could not provide, could not protect, or could not bear healthy children, their genes vanished. You are not descended from people who chose badly. You are descended from people who were ruthlessly, even unconsciously, selective. But what did selective mean 200,000 years ago? It did not mean someone who would make you laugh. It did not mean someone who shared your taste in music. It meant someone who could keep you and your offspring alive. The evolutionary psychologist David Buss ran one of the largest cross-cultural studies of mate preferences ever conducted. He surveyed over 10,000 people across 37 cultures. The results were not what romantics wanted to hear. Across every single culture, women prioritized resources and status. Men prioritized youth and physical signs of fertility. Every culture. No exceptions. These preferences are not learned from movies. They are not imposed by society. They are built into the architecture of your brain by millions of years of selection pressure. And here is the twist. Those ancient selection pressures are completely mismatched with your modern life. The man who would have been an exceptional hunter in the Pleistocene is, today, likely unemployed and emotionally unavailable. The woman who would have borne 10 healthy children in a pre-agricultural village is, today, not necessarily someone who can handle a conversation about feelings. The traits that signaled fitness in an ancestral environment are often the exact opposite of the traits that make someone a good partner in a world of rent payments and emotional labor. Your brain is scanning for signals that no longer mean what they used to mean, and it does not know the difference. Think about the last person who gave you that electric, can't eat, can't sleep feeling. Now ask yourself what they actually had in common with an ideal ancestral mate. Were they physically symmetrical? That is a marker of genetic health. Were they confident to the point of arrogance? In a small band where dominance determined access to food and safety, arrogance was not a bug. It was a feature. Were they slightly distant, slightly hard to read, slightly unavailable? Your brain reads that as a high-value mate who has options. In the ancestral environment, attention from a high-status individual was worth chasing. Today, that same person just does not text you back. The signal is the same. The meaning is destroyed. The psychologist John Bowlby uncovered something else that complicates this entire picture. He studied attachment, not romantic attachment, the attachment between a child and a caregiver. And what he found was that the style of love you learned before you could speak becomes the template for every romantic relationship you will ever have. If your earliest experience of love was inconsistent, you will be drawn to inconsistent partners. Not because you enjoy suffering, because your brain confuses unpredictability with intensity, and intensity feels like home. You are not falling in love with the wrong person. You are falling in love with a pattern that was set in your nervous system before you had words to describe it. Now layer this on top of the ancestral mismatch and the picture gets brutal. Your ancient brain is scanning for Pleistocene fitness signals. Your infant brain wired you to find certain emotional patterns familiar. Neither of those systems cares about your happiness. Both of them care about survival and reproduction. And together, they produce a mate selection algorithm that is breathtakingly bad at picking someone who will be kind to you on a Tuesday morning in the 21st century. That is not a coincidence. That is evolution doing exactly what it was selected to do, and you paying the price for it. The primatologist Robert Sapolsky has a phrase for this. He calls it the disconnect between our ancient biology and our modern environment. He points out that almost every source of human misery comes from this single fact. Our bodies and brains evolved for a world that no longer exists. You are not broken. You are not bad at choosing partners. You are operating hardware that was designed for a savanna and running it inside a city. The bugs are features. They just happen to be features that now cause you pain. What did your ancestors actually need from a mate? Let us get specific. They needed someone who could survive a drought, someone who could defend a camp from predators, someone whose immune system was different enough from their own to give their children a fighting chance. They needed someone who could walk for 3 days without food and still carry a child. They needed someone whose body fat distribution signaled years of reliable caloric surplus. Every single one of these selection criteria is still active inside your brain today. You look at a stranger across a room and your brain performs a calculation so fast and so ancient that you experience the result as a feeling. You call it chemistry. You call it a spark. It is a Pleistocene compatibility report, and it tells you nothing about whether this person will be faithful or kind or even interesting to talk to. This is why you keep picking the wrong people. Your brain is not looking for the right person. It is looking for the right ancestor. And the two are not the same thing. So what do you do with this information? You cannot override 200,000 years of neural wiring with a motivational quote. You cannot reason your way out of attraction. The ventral tegmental area does not respond to logic. But what you can do is understand the game while you are playing it. The next time you feel that electric, obsessive, can't stop thinking about them pull, pause. Ask yourself one question. Is this attraction? Or is this recognition? Am I drawn to this person because they are good for me? Or because some part of my ancient brain thinks they would have been good for my genes in an environment that no longer exists? The researcher Eli Finkel has studied modern relationships extensively. He calls today's marriages all-or-nothing marriages. In the past, your partner was your economic survival. Then, they were your companion. Now they are expected to be your best friend, your therapist, your co-parent, your intellectual equal, and your passionate lover, all at once. The ancient brain was not built for this job description. It was built for a world where marriage was a survival contract, not a self-actualization project. And yet, here you are, asking a Pleistocene brain to pick a 21st century soulmate. Of course it gets it wrong, but there is something strange and almost hopeful hiding inside this story. The very fact that you recognize you have picked the wrong person means something. It means your conscious mind is running a different program than your ancient instincts. It means you can see the mismatch. Your ancestors did not have that luxury. They did not sit around fires wondering whether their attraction patterns served their emotional well-being. They just felt the pull and acted on it, and the ones who felt the right pull survived. You get to do something they could not. You get to notice. Here is what noticing looks like in practice. The next time you swipe right on someone and feel that immediate gut-level yes, stop. Ask yourself what you actually know about them. If the answer is almost nothing, then what you are feeling is not attraction to a person. It is attraction to a signal that was relevant in the Pleistocene and is almost meaningless now. Their jawline tells you about their testosterone levels, not about whether they will do the dishes. Their hip-to-waist ratio tells you about their estrogen levels, not about whether they will be emotionally present when you are falling apart. The signal is real. The signal is ancient. The signal is completely misleading. This is not a call to ignore attraction. That is impossible. It is a call to treat attraction as what it actually is. A data point from a system that evolved for a world you no longer inhabit. It is useful data. It is not useless data, but it is one input among many, and it was never designed to run the show alone. Your ancestors needed it to run the show alone because their options were limited and the stakes were existential. Your options are vast, and the stakes are whether you wake up in 10 years next to someone you actually like. So here you are, a modern human with an ancient brain, standing in the wreckage of another relationship that started with fireworks and ended with silence, wondering if you are capable of choosing differently. The answer is yes, but only if you understand that the voice telling you this is the one, this is finally the right person, does not come from wisdom. It comes from dopamine, from attachment wiring, from 200,000 years of ancestors who survived because they chased the right signals in the wrong environment. And now you are chasing those same signals like a compass pointing at a magnetic pole that moved millennia ago, wondering why you keep ending up somewhere you did not mean to go. You picked the wrong person. Again. But now you know why. And knowing why is the only thing that has ever given anyone the power to pick differently.